For better or worse, these lads looked in the mirror and thought it was time for a change. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 radical WWE wrestler evolutions. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. This list is going to take a look at some of the wrestlers in WWE history that had a major change in gimmick along the way. Some may have gone full circle at some point, but these evolutions shocked us nonetheless. Number 10, JBL. When you hear those three letters, you probably think of the notorious businessman who made the locker room a living hell for some of his peers. But it's quite easy to forget that he spent most of his Attitude Era days alongside Farouk as the Acolytes, a couple of gothic gits, before becoming the Acolyte Protection Agency with the best ever shirts like the one that said "always pounding ass." Double entendre much? Though you might have enjoyed the APA run more, his character shift brought him huge success, including a rather lengthy world title reign. Number 9, The Godfather. If you're a big-time pimp, you've got to know how to cater to people from all walks of life. And man, does this guy know some weird lifestyles. Starting the company as a dark and deadly voodoo practitioner, Papa Shango, possession, spells and hexes were his forte, but not for long. A less characteristic run in the $1 Million Corporation, and then the Nation of Domination followed, until he landed his most comfortable role with his beloved hose. Less said about that right to censor shtick, the better. Number 8, Stone Cold Steve Austin. There's no character that epitomized the Attitude Era more than the Rattlesnake, but it took some time to get there. In his early days, he aligned himself with the $1 Million Man, working under the persona The Ringmaster. But it just wasn't clicking, so he revived the character he was working on in Extreme Championship Wrestling, shaved his head, grew some facial hair, and the rest is history. Amazing how much tougher you seem when you're bald, eh? Number 7, Triple H. The cerebral assassin, the king of kings, the game. Trips has had many a handle, but the whole intense sweaty guy persona seems to stick to him throughout. Surprisingly though, before he rolled with this, he was known as the Connecticut Blue Blood, a posh fella with a really bad fake British accent. It was a gradual change, but by the time he aligned himself with D-Generation X, who were pretty much the antithesis of his former gimmick, he dropped the Blue Blood thing altogether. Funny how they never brought it up though. Number 6, Bautista. While the transition from a Dudley boy to a Reverend was pretty wacky, we're looking at Devon's sidekick, a bloke known as Deacon Bautista. Yep, during his early days, the animal would assist the villainous Holy Man and walk through the crowd collecting donations. Alas, the dastardly Dudley would eventually get on the bad side of this beast, and the two clashed, leading Bautista to go solo before landing a gig with Evolution. From there, it was up, 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 and now he's a guardian of the bleeding galaxy. Fancy that. Number 5, Dolph Ziggler. 2 words, male cheerleader. Need we say more? Methinks not. Number 4, The Rock. He's arguably the biggest character in pro wrestling history, but before that, he was Ico Rocky Maivia. Yes, wholesome as could be, the fresh-faced boy took on the names of both his father and grandfather, and the fans weren't too interested in him. Then came his first major change, joining the militant faction the Nation of Domination, where he adopted the Rock moniker and began referring to himself in the third person. It wasn't long before he became the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. Number 3, Cody Rhodes. When this guy started, he was pretty much Dusty Rhodes' son in the form of a creator-wrestler template. It was promising, but even when he aligned himself with Randy Orton, he really wasn't up to much. It was time for a change, so why not try the tried and tested gimmick of a guy who thinks he's well handsome? It wasn't a bad change, but something was still lacking until he flipped the switch into the insane, undashing Cody. As great as the gimmick was, it wasn't the type that could last forever, and so he took a couple of steps back until Stardust. Yeah. Thankfully now he's back to his old ways in companies like ROH and NJPW as the American Nightmare. Phew. Number 2, Mick Foley. When you think multiple wrestling personas, you think of this fella. Whether he was the grooviest of hippies, Dude Love, the bloodthirsty hardcore westerner, Cactus Jack, or the unstable masked freak, Mankind, Mick Foley breathed life into each of his characters, enough for them to resonate with the audience to this day. But when it was all over, the name Mick Foley holds just as much weight to it as one of the most lovable faces in the history of professional wrestling. Number 1. Kane. You really can't name anyone who's changed as much as the Big Red Machine. Masking and unmasking and masking again on the drop of a dime, Kane's character changes at a breakneck pace, to the point where sometimes it's unclear whether he's a heel or a face. But if you think he's changed radically from the day he ripped off the Hell in a Cell door, jump way back and you'll meet his first ever persona, Isaac Yankem, an evil dentist. Lovely.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.